Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. In today's update, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 5 free stocks from Webull, valued all the way up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so with Senator Joe Manchin killing the Democrats' plan to pass the Build Back Better bill before Christmas, and perhaps ever at all, the past 48 hours have left Democratic leaders fuming. Most of the hatred is going towards Manchin being the lone Democrat to openly oppose the package. They believe that one Democrat out of hundreds should not get to decide which bills pass or don't pass. Of course, if they're mad, just think of the Republicans who haven't had a say in any of this over the past several months. Other than Manchin, some Democrats are taking their frustrations out on the White House, who they believe fumbled the negotiations with Manchin. Progressive Democrats in particular believe they were lied to and convinced that if they passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, then the Build Back Better package would pass in a quick manner as well. Here is the White House press secretary answering whether they regretted how they negotiated with Senator Manchin.
And then on his call out to Democrats for badgering him, saying that they believe that he could be moved in his position somehow. Is there any regret within the White House or within discussions with Democratic leadership just about how this negotiation went, given that statement from him that he feels that he's been badgered and beaten?
Well, that certainly is not our objective, never has been our objective, but our objective is getting this legislation passed and reminding the American people and all people who could vote for it what the stakes are. So no, we don't have regrets about aggressively communicating about it and making sure people understand that if we don't pass this legislation, costs for the American people will go up and economic growth projections will not go in the right direction.
Shows, though, that Democrats just don't have a large enough majority to pull off this kind of transformational legislation without these kinds of significant bumps in the road. But the president, ran as a moderate. Joe Biden is asking for any major policy changes, or excuse me, Manchin's asking for major policy changes to be bipartisan. So why are Biden and Manchin seemingly so far apart on this, where Manchin's wanting to bring Republicans in and the president has, tried to work this out just within the Democrats?
The president would welcome Republicans joining this effort to lower the cost of child care, to make sure that families aren't paying thousands of dollars for insulin, to make sure people can afford care for their parents and loved ones. He would welcome that. I think it's not a secret that opposition is driven by the concern by many in the Republican Party that they don't want to raise taxes on corporations and highest income. That's not a secret, but certainly we'd welcome support or engagement from any Republicans in this effort to get this done.
And now we have a question on how good of a relationship President Joe Biden has with the most important Democrat in the Senate, Joe Manchin. After Manchin declared the bill dead on Fox News Sunday, the White House press secretary released a statement saying that Manchin has reversed his decision and pretty much throwing him under the bus. To that, Manchin responded by saying, "They figured surely to God we can move one person. We surely can badger and beat one person up. Surely we can get enough protesters to make that person uncomfortable enough that they'll just say, okay, I'll vote for anything." Well, guess what? I'm from West Virginia. I'm not from where they're from, and they can just beat the living crap out of people and think they'll be submissive, period. Manchin also suggested that White House staff leaked private information from his conversations with the president, including the fact that he didn't want to extend the child tax credit for just one more year. Instead, he wanted to extend the credit for 10 more years so they could, for one, ensure that it's around for a longer period of time, and for two, be more transparent with taxpayers on how much this bill will cost. With all the drama taking place, the White House press secretary was also asked about the reported incivility towards Manchin that led to him killing the bill.
So on Build Back Better, did you see the Steve Clemons article today blaming the White House for incivility towards Senator Manchin, and specifically the statement that was released on Thursday, I think, Thursday evening, in which the read or the assessment was that the senator thought that statement blamed him in a way that wasn't in keeping with the approach that he and the president had been dealing with?
I have not yet read his article. It's been a busy day. But I will tell you that our intention, I think if you look back to last Thursday, was to provide an update on the future of Build Back Better. And I think it is not a secret where there is opposition to Build Back Better moving forward and where there is support, which is the vast majority of the Democratic caucus. That was not intended to be directive or hurtful, but to be a statement of fact.
With progressive Democrats obviously very worried that the bill may never end up passing, or if it does, many measures will need to be cut, they're now calling on President Biden to pass many of the policies through an executive order. In a conference call, the leader of the House Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, said, "No one should think that we are going to be satisfied with an even smaller package that leaves people behind or refuses to tackle critical issues like climate change. That's why it is now incumbent on President Biden to keep his promise to us and to the American people by using the ultimate tool in his toolbox of executive action in every arena immediately." She went on to say, "At this point, we should not wait for that legislative path for the president to take action. I think if there are too many Americans hurting, there's too much at stake. We have trusted for too long that Senator Manchin was engaging in good faith. I am not willing to hang my hopes in the future of millions of Americans across the country on whether or not he will do what he said he would do yesterday, which is often different from today or tomorrow." When Jen Psaki was asked whether Biden would consider passing many of these measures through an executive order, per request by progressive Democrats, this is what she had to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. In a press call this afternoon, Representative Jayapal, chair, woman of the House Progressive Caucus, called on President Biden to pursue executive action to pass components of the Build Back Better legislation. Is this something that the White House would consider or even thinks is a realistic possibility to pass some of these elements?
Well, I haven't had a chance to discuss Representative Jayapal's call with our legislative team. I'm not aware of that being under discussion. Obviously, we have used executive authority and executive action for a range of steps to make a range of progress, and the president has not hesitated to do that. The benefit of legislation is obviously it makes it permanent, so there's a lot of value in that, but I can see if that's something more under active.
Obviously, Republicans have been thrilled with Manchin's opposition to the bill, with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell saying that Manchin's opposition to Biden's plan has been a great shot in the arm for the country. McConnell said he'd also welcome Joe Manchin to join the Republican Party if he decided to do so. Now, that's probably not going to happen, but regardless, Manchin's opposition has been very welcoming for the entire Republican Party. Now, tonight at 8 p.m., Democrats in the Senate will be holding a special conference call where they plan to discuss their ambitions in the year ahead. What's odd, but not entirely surprising, is they're not even sure if Manchin will attend. Being that many Democrats have taken a disliking for Manchin over the past few weeks, it might be just a little bit awkward showing his face, but let's wait and see. In some other news, with COVID cases on the rise once again in the United States due to the new variant, the White House decided to purchase 500 million rapid at-home COVID tests with the goal of delivering these directly to the homes of Americans over the next month. So if you need one of these tests, the White House will have a website set up where you can submit your request to receive one. And again, these will be completely free to order and will be available to all Americans at some point next month. Tonight, the president will release more information on his plans to slow the spread, so if you're interested, feel free to tune in. Here is Jen Psaki discussing some of their plans.
Jen, the president's own medical advisors have suggested that if people are going to gather with family this holiday, that they try to do an at-home rapid test beforehand, but we're seeing such a lack of the supply at so many different stores. There are very long lines all across the Northeast. So what is the White House doing specifically right now to help Americans get access to these tests? And will the president speak to the frustration on that front many are feeling during his remarks tomorrow?
Absolutely, he will. I would note that to date, and we've always said this would always be a building process, our objective is to make tests accessible and free for Americans. There are a lot of ways to do that, and there are different ways that Americans are getting access to tests. If you have health insurance, you can go to your doctor. Everyone does not have health insurance. 150 million Americans obviously do. We've also made 50 million tests recently available to community health centers and rural health sites. There are 20,000 free testing sites across the country, and we are going to continue to build on that. And the president will talk about that tomorrow.
But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you enjoyed the content in today's video, I would definitely appreciate it if you would give this video a like, a big thumbs up. That does just definitely help out with the YouTube algorithm. And until next time, as always, I'll see you in the next video.